Hey guys, how are we? Well, a few people have sent messages to me requesting help in regards to buying a property here in Athens or Greece as a whole. And I don't mind giving people a hand and saving people a problem wherever I can. There are things to watch out for when you do purchase a property here. There are bargains to be had, and there is a very scrupulous real estate agents and lawyers who will screw you for everything that they can get out of you. And trust me when I say that, I know from experience. So if you come here with the intention to get the golden visa, which I suspect, based on the reports of the European Union, they are trying to manage that out of countries like Greece and Spain and Portugal, where they're selling their golden visas to non-EU citizens for permanent residency. So the golden visa looks like it's on its way out. But there are lots of opportunities here to buy decent properties in Athens and in Greece as a whole, if you're prepared to do the legwork, and it's going to be a lot of legwork. The easy thing to do would just be go to a golden visa real estate agency in Athens and other parts of Greece, and there's a multitude of them around. That is not the wisest thing to do, because they're going to charge you an absolute premium, and they will basically try and sell you a property for 250,000 euros. And that's the very minimum, and then some of them are going to charge you 20,000 euros for the paperwork to be done to get your permanent residency. And that is just way too exorbitant. I've seen everything from 20,000 euros to 2,000 euros and everything in between. So just be mindful of that. You can really get screwed. So don't go through one of these golden visa real estate agencies. You're better off not going through them. There are other services that you can use when you're over here. You can certainly search for Greek properties online. But the best thing that you can do is actually go and shop for properties where Greeks go and shop for properties. If you can actually find, or you know, a Greek who can actually buy a property or search for a property for you, you're going to save a lot of money and a lot of time. So, and I certainly can say to you that properties that would cost us a couple of $1 million in Australia, we've looked at buying here for less than 150,000 euros. So there are lots of opportunities here if you're prepared to put the legwork in, but there's lots of opportunity to get screwed if you're not prepared to put the legwork in. So just be very cautious about who you're dealing with over here. And when you do have a property, when everything is being signed over to you, make sure that your utilities are all signed over into your name, and everything is paid in full before you sign on the dotted line at the notary. You will have to go to a notary to complete the purchasing contract. Sometimes they require you to pay, say, a $5,000 deposit before you enter into a contract. It's like a pre-contract. Be very wary of that, because you will never get your 5,000 euros back. So just be mindful of that. There's lots of tricks. The real estate game here in Greece is not regulated like in places like Australia, where they have to do a course and there's a regulatory body and there's licensing and various safety processes in place to protect the purchasers and the sellers. But that is not like that over here, so just be very mindful of that. It is kind of, in some ways, it's the Wild West, but there's, as I said, good opportunities to be had over here, but lots of opportunity to be utterly screwed in regards to real estate as well. So be mindful of that. So, as I said, Make sure you do your due diligence. Find out all of the documentation that you need to be completed before you settle. So you want to look at the land registry and make sure that that's been transferred into your name. You want to look at your utilities, your water, your electricity. Make sure that those bills have been paid in full, and you want them transferred into your name as soon as you basically get that property. You sign on the dotted line. And the other thing that you want to make sure of is that you want to get an electrician and a plumber to go through and evaluate your property before you move in and you pay your first bill. As soon as you acquire that property, make sure that nobody else is piggybacking off your utilities, because we've experienced that ourselves, and it's just adds to the cost of your electricity. It slows down your internet when they piggyback off your internet. And most Greeks are fairly honest people, but there's a few, as in every culture, that really let the team down. So be very mindful of that when you're purchasing and settling a property here in Greece. There are a lot of different issues in regards to settling property. So save yourself a lot of problems, do the process properly, and deal with the right people. As I said, lawyers are a dime a dozen here. And I'm not wanting to be condescending, but lawyers need to be instructed, and that's one of the things. If you're not used to doing legal work, then you will sit there in awe of your professionals, lawyers and accountants, and think that whatever they say to you has got to be correct. That is not the case. Get a second opinion, and when you are dealing with a lawyer, use the phrase, "I am instructing you," because a lot of these lawyers will not actually do as they're told. They'll do as they think is what they think is best. And particularly having dealt with them in Australia and other parts of the world, and lawyers are there to be instructed. They're not there to basically rule your life and tell you what has to be done. They're there to give you the information that is needed, and then you are to instruct them as to what they are to do. And so don't be fearful of a lawyer, because most of them aren't really that intelligent anyway. And I'm not trying to put people down, but we have a look at all these different professions, and I tell you what, I have been shocked at the level of ineptitude and lack of professionalism. So be very mindful of that. It's your responsibility. You buy a property, you make sure that all that documentation is done correctly. When you buy the property, everything is in order. Do not rely on that lawyer to get everything in order, because you are going to be in real trouble. So as I said, you need to be competent and aware of what's required. Get a list of everything that's required to buy that property in whichever location you're looking at. Once you have a list of all those different things, you want to set up a spreadsheet. Once you have a list of everything that's required, you want to set up an Excel spreadsheet, and then you want to tick off every single one of those documents that are required, and you want to have a copy of those documents scanned and put into a file, as well as have a hard file for them. So just make sure of that, because if you do not keep a copy of those documents and make sure that everything is in order, you're going to be paying a very tall price. So be very mindful of that. Also, when you're having a look at property, like if you're looking at property in Thailand, for example, you can't actually own land. So a lot of these Asian countries are not going to surrender the rights to any property. When I say property, I mean land. So just be mindful of that. If you're going to be in a position where you're not going to own the land, you're only going to have a 99-year lease. What good is that to you? So just be very mindful of that as well. So, all right guys, going to leave that there, and I'll do some more information on that as time goes by, and maybe show you exactly what I'm talking about in regards to making sure everything is done correctly. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, do that, and we'll speak